As long as you take a few steps in Taiwan, you can smell the fragrance of fried turnip cake. Especially during the morning market, people gather in front of the stalls full of bustling atmosphere just to taste the steaming turnip cake. However, this radish cake loved by the Piop Love Taiwan is not a pastry unique to Taiwan. In fact, as early as before liberation, radish cakes appeared one after another in southern Fujian. The locals called them vegetable heads and fruit vegetables. The heads were radish and the fruits were food collectively processed from rice noodles, flour, and potato noodles by the local people. Later, with the migration of the population, this delicious snack was gradually introduced to Taiwan and still retains the name of K2 fruit today. Its homophonic meaning has the implication of good fortune. So radish cake has also become an indispensable traditional food during holidays. This is a time-honored pastry factory opened by Fujianese in Taiwan. It is said that the first owner of the factory brought the craft of making radish cakes to Taiwan more than 80 years ago. First of all, the white radish should be peeled and washed. The masters sit together and quickly peel the skin of the radish with knives in their hands. The factory uses local white radish, which not only has no bitter taste when eaten but also is rich in juice. After peeling, the master will rinse the radishes one by one with clean water, then put them into the machine. The radishes are cut into filaments through a high-speed rotating screw knife, and finally put into a container for later use. Together with the radish cake, there is also taro cake, also called royal fruit. It is a traditional cake made by using taro instead of radish and using the same method. It also originated in Fujian. The treatment of taro is more complicated than that of radish. They must be put in a cleaning cage to completely remove the sludge on the surface. These are betel nut taros produced by people in Taiwan. They belong to the same variety as the well-known Lipu taro in the mainland and taste waxy and fragrant. Then cut the taros one by one. After simple washing, they will also be placed in the machine to be cut into shreds. For a moment, jade-like shreds covered with lavender lines poured out from the other end of the machine. These lines are very similar to the lines inside betel nut, so people call it betel nut taro. Here, the master is washing the local fresh rice soaked for several hours with an electric stirring rod. This kind of fresh rice is called by the locals nlemi and belongs to the variety with less stickiness but rich rice flavor. At this time, the master will open the water outlet under the cylinder to discharge the rice washing water, and the refined rice grains will slowly emerge. On the side of opening, the machine sends the rice grains through the pipeline to the grinder below. The hard rice grains are directly ground into powder. Mixed with the continuously pouring water, it forms white and thick rice pulp, which slowly flows into the barrel. The color is whiter than milk and the texture is extremely silky. Then the master pours the rice milk into the vat, and begins to add various fillings. Table-type radish cakes are mainly vegetarian. There are no other ingredients except shredded radish. When putting them, pay attention to a proportion. If there is too little shredded radish, it will not taste enough. While if there is too much, the ready-made radish cakes will disperse as soon as they are added. The master will whip the shredded radish and rice pulp together. Fujian people have simply summarized the main steps of making radish cakes into 3. The first is to mix rice pulp and shredded radish, continue to pour them into a steamer covered with food-grade preservative paper, fill and smooth the square steamer, and wait for further processing. Taro cake also has few other ingredients. Because taro itself has less water content, the proportion of addition can be appropriately increased. This is also the reason why taro cake is more fragrant and waxy. If there is simplicity, there is luxury. The master adds fresh and tender imps, golden and crisp onion crisps, and salty dried meat covered with shrimps to another bucket of rice pulp. Finally, he adds shredded radish and whips the ingredients together. This is Hong Kong-style radish cake with luxurious ingredients. Next is the steaming process of rice pulp. The masters work in pairs and carefully drop the whole thing first. When they pile up to the 6th or 7th layer, they will use a small crane to drop the fallen steam onto the steam port. Relying on the strong steam transported in the pipeline, up to 20 layers of rice pulp can be steamed at once. About half an hour later, the master slowly moves the steamer down with a crane. At the moment of lifting it, a stream of rice fragrance seeps into the heart and spleen, and the whole piece of crystal clear rice cake comes into view. At this time, it Finish the second step of the 3. After about 4 hours, the rice cakes are completely cooled. The master will take the heavy rice cakes out of the steamer one by one, put them upside down on the chopping board, and another master will be responsible for cutting them. He will first tear off the plastic wrap on the surface, and then cut the rice cakes into uniform sizes, according to the scales on the wooden tools. The grid pattern at the bottom of the steamer also plays an auxiliary role in cutting. With just 3 or 2 efforts, rice cakes of various flavors are quickly cut into identical cuboids, each with a net weight of about 950 grams. They are placed in boxes and turned and vacuum packaged by a machine to achieve the purpose of preservation. Finally, there is a disinfection process. The master pushes the packaged rice cake into the steamer and opens the steam for high-temperature sterilization. After the whole disinfection of radish cake, it can be stored in a refrigerated environment for a month. Frozen, it can be stored for more than half a year without any preservatives. So far, from raw materials to finished products, a piece of radish cake takes a total of 10 hours. Perhaps rice paste can be made by using cheap rice flour and water. Perhaps dried meat and onion crisps do not need to be made on the same day, or even do not need to be made by themselves. However, the sense of traditional technology is to exchange time for taste. In order to let customers taste the most authentic ancient taste, the factory has always adopted the original transmission method in the past few decades, without changing for a moment. The jade bridge, to be made next, is also a delicacy that has accompanied generations. Unlike radish cake, its rice pulp is made of glutinous rice, which is mixed with flavored dried meat, and mixed with pengli rice noodles while stirring. Its stickiness is second only to glutinous rice, which is also the main reason for the soft texture of yaguo chiao. Then pour the whole basket of taro shreds into the blender, continue to add shrimp and onion crisps and mix well. Yugo kiao's filling ratio will be higher than that of taro cake, and the flavor will be more obvious. The stirred glutinous rice embryos have good plasticity. The master will rub them into round cakes of uniform size, and then directly feed them into the steamer for steaming. After taking the out, they become bright and transparent one by one. The thin glutinous rice coat makes the stuffing inside look looming. The color of the stuffing will not appear until it is fully cooled. Each royal fruit weighs about 50 grams and is packaged in groups of 6. They can be sold after vacuum packaging. In addition to direct sales, these products will also be sent to the factory's own snack bar for on-site cooking. The clerk cuts the radish cake into square thick slices and fries them on a sizzling iron plate. The surface of the radish cake gradually shows an attractive golden yellow color, and the air is filled with charming fragrance. Fry until both sides are browned. This grilling process is the last of the 3 steps. When it is finished, you can taste it. The clerk continues to beat an egg into the scallion, stir well, pour it on an iron plate and fry it, and then put the fried turnip cake on the fried egg. This is the uni on egg that Taiwanese people love. After slicing, the turnip cake and taro fruit can be fried more thoroughly and become fragrant and crispy. A turnip cake costs NT $30 and an onion egg costs NT $45. The turnip cake is soft, glutinous and fragrant. You can taste the sweetness of radish in every bite. The onion egg is extremely tender. Dipped in a sauce made of soy sauce, garlic and red pepper, it is mouth-watering. A bath pot bridge costs NT $40. The crisp taro bath pot bridge inside is full of the taste of sweet taro. Praise and pay attention to it, and stroll along the flavor road.